The banquet hall gleamed with a soft and welcoming illumination. Crystal chandeliers hung from the high ceiling, casting a golden glow over the elegantly dressed guests. Round tables, covered with white linen tablecloths and adorned with delicate floral arrangements, were arranged in a semicircle, leaving an open space in the center of the hall. Marina stood near one of the tables, holding a glass of red wine. Her long brown hair cascaded in soft waves over her shoulders, framing her delicate face. She wore a navy blue dress that highlighted her honey-colored eyes. At 28, Marina was a woman of subtle beauty and striking presence. As she watched the guests chatting animatedly, Marina couldn't help but feel a pang of anxiety. She knew something important was about to happen, but she couldn't quite imagine what it would be. Her boyfriend, Peter, had insisted that she attend this company anniversary party, saying it would be a special night. Peter, a tall and charismatic 32-year-old man, was on the other side of the room chatting with a few colleagues. He wore a well-tailored suit that accentuated his athletic figure. His green eyes sparkled as he laughed at something one of the colleagues had said. From time to time, he glanced in Marina's direction, smiling enigmatically. Marina and Peter had been together for 4 years. They met at a mutual friends party, and from the very first moment, there was an undeniable connection between them. Peter was charming, intelligent, and ambitious. Marina, on the other hand, was kind, creative, and dreamy. In the first few months of their relationship, it seemed they had found the perfect match. However, as time passed, things began to subtly change. Peter, who was initially attentive and romantic, became more distant and focused on his career. The nights of conversation and laughter were replaced by tense silences and arguments about unfulfilled commitments. Marina tried to convince herself that it was just a phase. After all, relationships have their ups and downs, don't they? She remembered her mother's words. True love requires patience and understanding. So she persisted, believing that the Peter she had fallen in love with was still there, hidden beneath layers of stress and ambition. While she reminisced about the past, Marina was surprised by the sound of cutlery clinking against crystal glasses. The soft music that filled the room stopped, and all attention turned to the center of the hall. Peter was there, smiling broadly with a microphone in hand. "Good evening, everyone," he began, his voice resonating throughout the hall. "First of all, I would like to thank each of you for being here for this very special celebration. 5 years of our company's success is something to celebrate." Applause echoed through the hall, and Marina smiled politely, still not completely understanding what was happening. "But," Peter continued, his tone changing to something more intimate, "there is something even more special that I would like to share with all of you tonight." His eyes met Marina's, and she felt her heart race. Peter walked towards Marina, who felt all eyes turned to her, and a sense of discomfort began to grow in her chest. "Marina," Peter said, stopping a few steps from her, "these last 4 years by your side have been the best of my life." He paused, as if gathering courage. "You are the most amazing woman I have ever met, and I can't imagine my future without you in it." The hall was completely silent now, the tension palpable in the air. Marina felt her hands start to tremble, and she gripped the wine glass tighter, trying to anchor herself in reality. Peter knelt before her, taking a small velvet box from his jacket pocket. Marina's heart seemed to be leaping into her throat. "Marina," Peter said, opening the box to reveal a dazzling diamond ring, "would you do me the honor of becoming my wife?" Time seemed to freeze. Marina looked at the ring, at Peter's hopeful face, and then at the eager faces of the guests around them. She saw Peter's mother, an elegant lady with grey hair, smiling and tears in her eyes. She saw her friends, some with their hands over their mouths in surprise, others already ready to celebrate. But amid all this anticipation, Marina felt a crushing weight on her shoulders. No one there knew, but that proposal was not about love or the future. It was about control. Peter didn't want to lose Marina, and he knew she was thinking about leaving him. At that moment, kneeling with the ring in his hand, He was almost sure she would say yes. After all, she always stayed, always forgave, always believed. Memories of the last few years flooded Marina's mind. The nights Peter arrived late, smelling of alcohol, the arguments that ended with doors slamming, the promises of change that never materialized. She looked at Peter again, and for a moment saw the man she had fallen in love with years ago. The Peter who made her laugh, who held her on cold nights, who dreamed with her about the future. But this Peter was becoming more and more distant, replaced by someone she barely recognized. Marina began, her voice faltering. She swallowed hard, trying to find the right words. Peter, I can't. A murmur of shock spread through the hall. Peter's confident smile wavered, giving way to an expression of confusion and shock. What? He asked, as if he hadn't heard correctly. Marina held back her tears, placing the wineglass on a nearby table. Can we talk outside? She asked, aware of the curious and shocked looks around her. Peter nodded mechanically, and the two headed for a more secluded corner of the room. Marina could hear the whispers of the guests behind them, but she tried to focus only on the man in front of her. Peter, she began, her voice low and trembling. I love you, or at least I love who you were. But in recent years, we've been living a lie. You are no longer the man I fell in love with. Peter frowned, confusion giving way to frustration. What are you talking about? I'm the same as always. Marina sighed deeply. No, you're not. The Peter I knew didn't come home drunk 3 times a week. He didn't yell at me over trivial things. He didn't make promises he never kept. The words seemed to hit Peter like a punch in the stomach. He took a step back, the reality of the moment finally reaching him. Marina, I can change. I promise I will change. She smiled sadly. You have said that so many times, Peter. And I always believed, always hoped. But I can't anymore. I can't build a future on empty promises and shattered hopes. Peter ran his hand through his hair, clearly agitated. So that's it? You're going to throw away 4 years of relationship because of a few mistakes? They're not just a few mistakes, Peter, Marina replied, feeling a strength she didn't know she possessed growing within her. It's a pattern, a cycle that I can no longer perpetuate. I deserve more than this. We both do. Marina and Peter had been together for 4 years. The beginning was intense, full of passion and shared dreams, but over the years Peter started to lose himself. Alcohol, which was once just a detail at parties, became a habit. Small outbursts of anger became frequent, and with each mistake came the promises. I will change, I swear. Marina believed, she wanted to believe. He cried, said he needed her, and she stayed. In the early years, the excuses seemed acceptable. It's the stress from work. I drank too much, it won't happen again. I just got nervous. But the cycle repeated, and with each repetition, a piece of Marina wore down. But now it had been the last straw. She needed to be honest. And then, after her unexpected answer, the silence that followed was deafening. Peter looked at Marina as if he were seeing her for the first time, a mixture of anger, sadness, and perhaps a flicker of understanding in his eyes. I'm sorry, Marina finally said, removing a promise ring that Peter had given her years ago. She placed it in his hand, along with the engagement ring. I hope you understand one day. With those words, Marina turned and walked towards the exit of the hall. She could feel the guests' gazes burning on her back, but she kept her head held high. When she reached the doors, she allowed a single tear to roll down her cheek. Outside, the cool night air engulfed her. Marina took a deep breath, feeling as if a huge weight had been lifted from her shoulders. She walked to her car, her hands trembling as she searched for the keys in her purse. Sitting in the driver's seat, Marina finally let her emotions take over. The tears she had held back for so long now flowed freely. She cried for the love she once felt, for the hopes she nurtured, and for the dreams she now needed to redefine. But amidst the sadness, there was also a feeling of liberation. For the first time in a long time, Marina felt she was doing the right thing for herself. She had found the courage to say no when everyone expected a yes. Starting the car, Marina looked one last time at the brightly lit hall through the rearview mirror. A part of her wanted to go back, apologize, and accept Peter's proposal. It would be easier, more comfortable. But she knew that this comfort would be temporary and would eventually turn into regret. While driving through the city streets, Marina reflected on the next steps. She knew that the coming days would be difficult. There would be questions to answer, explanations to give, and a broken heart to heal. But for the first time in years, she truly felt in control of her life. In the weeks that followed, Marina faced the consequences of her decision. Mutual friends chose sides, family members questioned her choice, and there were moments when the loneliness felt overwhelming. Peter tried to reach out several times, alternating between apologies and bitter accusations. But with each passing day, Marina felt stronger. She rediscovered passions she had set aside, reconnected with friends she had neglected, and most importantly, began to reconnect with herself. 6 months after that fateful night, Marina was sitting in a cafe, leafing through a book. The autumn sun streamed through the large windows, creating a cozy atmosphere. She looked up upon hearing the doorbell, and her heart skipped a beat when she saw Peter entering. He saw her almost immediately, and for a moment both were frozen in place. Peter looked healthier, with a flush in his cheeks. He hesitated for a moment before approaching Marina's table. "Hi," he said softly. "Hello, Peter," Marina replied, closing the book. "Are you okay?" he asked, a hint of genuine concern in his voice. Marina smiled slightly. "I am. And you?" Peter shrugged. "I am too. I started therapy, you know, and I stopped drinking." A silence settled between them, laden with unspoken words and unresolved emotions. "I'm happy for you, Peter," Marina finally said. "Truly." He nodded, a sad smile on his lips. "I wish I had done this earlier. Maybe things could have been different." Marina felt a pang in her heart, but she knew her decision had been the right one. "Perhaps. But the important thing is that you are taking care of yourself now." Peter nodded. "Well, I just wanted to say hi and thank you." "Thank you?" Marina asked, surprised. "For not saying yes that night," he explained. "If you had accepted, I probably never would have realized that I needed to change. You did me a favor, even though at the time I didn't see it that way." Peter's words touched Marina deeply. She felt tears forming in her eyes, but this time they were tears of relief and gratitude. "Take care, Peter," she said softly. He nodded, casting one last glance at Marina before turning and leaving the cafe. As she watched him leave, Marina felt a sense of closure. The chapter of her life with Peter had finally come to an end, but she didn't feel sad. On the contrary, she felt grateful for the journey, the lessons learned, and above all, the courage she found within herself. Marina turned her attention to the book in her hands, a serene smile on her lips. The future was uncertain, but for the first time in a long time, she was eager to discover what it held. She had learned the most valuable of lessons: that self-love is the foundation for all other types of love. If you enjoyed the story, please leave a comment with a rating from 1 to 5 to show how much you liked it. Also, watch the video that is now appearing on your screen. See you soon.